ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am not the devil, believe it or not, whatever anybody says. I am not Satanus. I am not Satanus. That's not me. But I am a fan of the Forbidden Zone. I am a fan of our guest today, Richard Elfman, the man, the myth, the legend. This is a long time coming for this episode, I feel. And it was super good to finally sit down with this dude. Yeah, I do think this is an underground legend. We're talking about a legend today, very cool dude. A lot of cool stuff we're gonna get into. The man's fucking had his hand in everything. You know what I mean? Everything good. You know what I mean? And it was just really cool, man. It was a real pleasure. What'd you think? Before we pop in, what's your thoughts on the legacy of the great Richard Elfman?
I gotta say, I mean, he's great. I mean, I enjoy Oingo Boingo. Back in the day, I mean, Dead Man's Party was a song that I was a big fan of. I always enjoyed their style. I mean, Forbidden Zone. I mean, going off what Matt said, is such a trip. And I mean, you look at all of his other projects: Streets of Rage, Shrunken Heads, Bone Chillers. He did 4 episodes of that.
Very
Um,
cool with Adam Rifkin.
yeah, he
And
did.
I think Christopher Coppola was in that, who a part of the Coppola family. I think he's maybe a brother or so to Nicolas Cage, your boy.
Yeah,
He did a really cool movie in the '90s called Deadfall, that I liked
yeah.
a lot. I won't talk about that because I don't know the relationship between him and Richard. I'm sure they're cool, but we won't go too far because we're talking about a man, a myth, and a legend today. And it is a pleasure. So, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, welcoming to the BoomBastiCAST for the first time, the great, the powerful, the wonderful, the wacky, the wild, the always entertaining Richard Elfman. Welcome to the BoomBastiCAST. Richard, welcome to the BoomBastiCAST.
Hey, hi, fellas. Here I am.
Yeah. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on. You know what I mean? And I've been looking forward to this for a while, man. I've always been a big fan. And Forbidden Zone, the first time I seen that film blew my fucking mind apart, dude. I was like, what is going on here? And I loved it. It's like it's high doses of insanity, and it's beautiful, man. I love it, dude. I love it. But let's start kind of from the beginning. You know what I mean?
In the beginning.
In the beginning, I know you've done a whole bunch of stuff. I know you were a theater dude, back in the day, which I think has a heavy influence on Forbidden Zone. But like going way, way back, your brother Danny Elfman, of course, the composer and musician. I'm always curious of like
Yeah, I lucked out on that one, didn't I?
that's a pretty good deal. Yeah, that's a pretty good deal. It's good stuff. Whenever I see like super talented families like that, you know what I mean? It's like in the big, is it were the parents artistic, or what was that?
Okay, so our dad played some jazz trumpet in the 30s, but then he got interrupted by World War II. Just before he shipped out, like had a fling with a floozy, came back 4 years later after the war. She's got a kid and she's living with some gangster named Rocky Shapiro that she wouldn't marry so she could get alimony from my dad. So we were like dirt poor.
Oh,
I was actually born in Watts on 103rd Street.
we
There's
rather.
only one other Caucasian family on the block. They were like these hillbillies, and they beat me up for killing Christ, and I didn't even know who Christ was when I was 4 years old. You know, so, I've got an interesting background, but I have a great sense of rhythm. I love barbecue. Go to gospel churches periodically.
Yeah.
Have a right cross and a left hook.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
yeah, we paid some of those anti-Semites back over the years.
Hell yeah. Amen, brother. Hell yeah. You
Heck yeah.
know, with the boxing thing, I know you did a little boxing back in the day. I remember I seen some pictures from the precursor to Forbidden Zone. There was a St. John's Infirmary.
Broken hand.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. How were you
Well,
doing?
I was I was a sparring partner on and off for 25 years in a pro stable. I've
Oh,
had two no jobs, can hardly turn my neck, probably six thumbs.
yeah.
But it, it was it kept me in shape. I'm not violent, uh, but I love being part of. It was almost kind of a Damon Runyon-esque universe,
Yeah.
you know, with the old managers and the young fighters and gangsters. And so I'm a part of this. Life is theater,
Yes.
and but anyway, it kept me in shape for a while, a good 25 years. Although I have trouble backing up in my car, turning my neck, and when I had broken noses, I'd get more respect.
Yeah. The mob thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Could have been the contender, you know.
Yeah, our production company is doing a documentary. We just started doing a documentary on Peter McNeely, the Hurricane who boxed Tyson back in the '90s, and we got some horror
Oh,
stories
okay.
from him about all that stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
So, like got into theater in the high school. I'm guessing.
No,
No.
it was all Afro-Latin percussion music. That was my passion, was Afro-Latin percussion.
Oh, yeah.
And so, God, I'm like 18 or 19, and I'm in this group called the Quanditos, an Afro percussion group. Little, you know, other than flute and bass, it was like vocal percussion. We're signed by Capitol Records. They move us to Las Vegas. God, we're at Caesar Palace for a month, kind of putting our show together. And by default, I kind of choreographed the show.
Hmm.
And then one afternoon, I broke up a fight between God, one guy was from Compton, the other one was from Brooklyn or something like that. And so I broke up the fight and I got the show on. And then some guys from Vegas said, "Boy, he can really direct." So now I'm at the Palace Theater in San Francisco, where there'd be a monthly thing. It was called the Nocturnal Dream Show. And it was kind of an avant garde drag send up of old musicals. And that was my first exposure to Max Fleischer, Cab Calloway, and all these things. And that had a huge influence on me, like being with that group. And then it was directing theater. And I'm the ugliest drag you've ever seen. I was even in a dress doing a thing where the pianist is playing Eric Satie. I'm in a rocking chair, and then I killed the pianist. Very poignant.
I
Very
like
poignant.
that.
Yeah.
The theatrics. So, what got you to kind of switch over from like the stage into film? What kind of got your interest with that?
Well, very simple. Um, so we had this musical theatrical group, the Mystic Knights of the Oingo Boingo, that later became Oingo Boingo. And as we were transitioning from a 12-piece Commedia dell'arte group into an 8-piece rock group, I wanted to preserve on film what I was doing on stage, hence Forbidden Zone, which is largely my stage show from the Mystic Knights of the Oingo Boingo.
Interesting.
There it is.
Hell yeah.
There it is, folks.
That is. I mean, and for anybody out there that's not down with Oingo Boingo, of course, go check that out. That's fucking incredible stuff. But Forbidden Zone, like I said before, man, I loved it. It's such a wild, zany, weird, fever dreamy, and I love how it pushes the honor. Like, it starts out, it's a pimp going with the hair going to hide heroin, I believe, right, in a basement, and then falls into a dimension of hell, forbidden zone of hell type deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just so wild, and there's a lot of stuff shot on the stage, which I assumed were able to kind of use access to the theater a little bit.
It was a total guerrilla operation.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were on a couple sound stages, and they'd chase us off, and we'd find another.
Yeah. I've always been curious, like, what type of would you say you had an influence or any influences for that film? I mean, I see a lot of Fellini in it, you know what I mean? Type vibe. It's got a lot of humor of like a John Waters, but I feel like you guys are contemporaries around the same era, so you might not pull influence from him, but like definitely a Fellini feel to it for sure.
Well, I like Fellini very much. I had come from a theater company based in Paris called the Grand Magic Circus, which was kind of avant-garde theater, but we had a huge hit. We filled 600 seats for a year. But it was kind of absurdist, and there were avant-garde elements, but I'm also working with people classically trained in la comédie française. And there was absurdity and humor. My brother, 1 week out of high school, shows up at my front door in Paris with his violin, and the director, Jerome Savary, who later became the director of the French National Theatre, would like to deviate and improvise. He performed as well as directed, and the violinist was from the Paris Opera and couldn't deviate a note from the damn score. And Danny didn't quite have his tonality, but could follow everything that the changes. So Danny got the gig and toured with us for a summer. But anyway, the Jerome, bless his heart, he's no longer with us, would drink, have wild tirades. And I said, I better start my own group. So after a couple of years in France, I came back to the States and started the Mystic Knights of the Oingo Boingo.
Fuck yeah. And legends are born. You know what I mean?
Yeah. France is quite an interesting country.
Yeah, I've never been. I'd like to. I hear good things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like any country, I mean, it's great. I
Yeah.
love people. I love diverse cultures. And they have their quirks.
Because I know you were like a journalist and you did a lot of food and wine critiquing and stuff like that. And they're kind of like the best. People talk about where the best place to get food and wine. That's one of the places.
Okay, well, what I would look for was out of the way places that were great and needed attention. Where I said, I don't care about the art on the walls. I care about the food in the plate. I want to pay for the food in the plate, not for the art on the walls.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
You definitely gotta. That's definitely one of them things. You know what I mean? Well, Forbidden Zone. You got Danny's in it. Danny's plays the devil in it, which that's one of the most iconic imagery. It's him as the devil, man. That's been burnt into my brain. It's just there's something about it. It's just great with the music. It's just really fucking good. I love it. You know what I mean?
Oh, thank you. Yeah. The kid did okay.
He did pretty good. You know, and you have Herb Valichez in there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
How did he come under your radar?
Oh, it was a very professional story. Matthew Bright, who played Squeeze and Henderson, went to high school with Danny, an original Mystic Knight of the Oingo Boingo. Hervé was his roommate.
Okay, really?
And Hervé was fucking Susan Terrell. And there we go.
There we go. Bright also wrote a bunch of scripts that you would direct too, which was cool.
Modern Vampires and Shrunken Heads were Matthew Bright's scripts.
How was Herb cool to work with? I know I've heard different stories of him sometimes being very fun and then times not so fun. You know what I mean?
On our set, he was beyond cool.
Good.
He'd kick his check back into the production, show up on weekends to paint, and God, I remember his agent, some son of a bitch, is like trying to get money out of me and trying to get money out of it. And once he realizes there's no money, suddenly he changes to, it's going to kill him. He can't do it with the Fantasy Island, whatever. But Hervé still showed up, and the guy was a prince.
I'm glad to hear that because, like I said, there's mixed talks. You know what I mean? And he sounds like a really super cool.
Oh no, he'd show up on weekends and paint sets.
Yeah,
that's what we're talking.
Yeah, which is, that's like an amazing story. You know what I mean? Because he's already
and the dynamic with him and Susan, because they were lovers. There was this dynamic, and she came from the New York stage. She had this stentorian voice that could fill 800 seats. And Hervé, big soul in a small body, had a smaller voice box. So in the distance, I'd see them having an argument, and you'd only hear her.
Yeah.
And then as you got closer, then you'd hear the both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was very much a ladies' man.
I've heard that. Yeah.
Enough said. Enough
Yeah.
said.
Enough said. Enough said.
And
Hey, there's nothing wrong with being a ladies'
described in Susan described in details that I didn't want to hear, which was one of the quirks of Susan Terrell. God
Yeah.
bless her.
His method, his techniques. She explained the techniques that he liked. It was good.
Yeah, yeah. The size and spatial differences. Enough
Yeah.
said.
Well, equal opportunity. You know what I mean? That's what we like here. You
No,
know.
but he was so charismatic. He'd enter the room and he'd fill the guy's spirit. Very charismatic.
Yeah. 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 Legendary. You know, and I grew up with Fantasy Island, of course. You know, catching the reruns of that growing up and stuff, and you got to know him, and not personally, but the character, and yeah, very lovable dude. I'm glad to hear good stories about him. That's good.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
I mean,
So,
he had a tough life, and he tried to take it away a few times growing up.
oh
But
really?
he was subject to this dwarf tossing thing, injured his back. So he had a tough time. He had a tough time.
Yeah, I remember. I heard, was the end was really rough for him too, which was sad because of it. I guess it was something with like the organs were regular size, but even though he was a little smaller, so it was like painful for him. Like I believe he slept standing up or something like that too towards the end. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It was it's a disability. I've worked with a lot of little people,
true.
and they have things to overcome.
Yeah,
It's a disability, and I applaud them for challenging their disabilities and succeeding.
for sure. Always smiling, always happy. That they're like appreciative of it. It's very cool. And I know you got after Forbidden's, you got into some more music videos for Oingo Boingo. You know what I mean? So like when you were doing the music, was there a point when you stepped away from it, or?
Well, I've had a crazy topsy-turning life.
Yeah,
I'd be writing food and wine reviews, directing musicals, getting hurt in the ring,
yeah.
doing real estate development. Right, I'd have to like hide my bloody knuckles under the table at meetings. It's, I've had an unusual life,
Yeah,
and I've picked myself off the canvas, both literally and figuratively, more than a few times. But I'm blessed.
yeah.
Think right now, I'm having the most fun, exciting time of my life.
I love that. Well, I know you got the Bloody Bridget you're doing with your wife Anastasia. I know that's killing it right now in the film festival circuit. Congratulations on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, we've won 14 film festivals. We've been everywhere from Canada to Brazil, everywhere in between. And Anastasia and I produce live shows with her Bloody Burlesque, and I conscript musicians locally. So it's almost like a vaudeville touring thing. We've had a number of weekends where we've done 2, 3 cities, bang, 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 one after the other. It's like showing up, rehearsing the band, then the show, then the next one another day. So it's been pretty wild.
Yeah,
We've got God, where are we going next? Seattle, Wisconsin. We're keeping moving,
taking it
keeping
on
the
the
rest.
road. Yeah, you're touring it. It's good. Now when we first started talking, that weekend. I think you guys were doing a show. Yeah, you were doing like an we introducing the film and then going into the burlesque stuff, or how was that?
We usually, I don't know, like I'll charge in with a bunch of Brazilian percussion, go into some music.
Yeah,
Then Anastasia produces these bloody burlesque things where she'll like rip someone's heart out, which goes right into the film
yeah,
where she's ripping someone's heart off, and the audience goes nuts seeing her live on stage and then on screen. In Brazil, she was actually mobbed after the screening in a good way.
okay,
More
good.
women than men.
Okay.
And oh, you must rip my boyfriend's heart out. He is such a bastardo.
You should do a photo op. Get outside right before, you know what I mean. Set up a booth and you have the fake heart. You know what I mean. I like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sucking blood only whetted her appetite. She has to eat their beating hearts in Bloody Bridget.
Hell yeah, yeah. I'm looking forward to checking it out.
We completely pirated this film, self-funded it, mortgage, credit cards, no lenders, no attachments. So we're
Yeah,
just having fun with it. But at some point, we have to seek commercial distribution.
for
But we
sure.
can't do the festivals while it's commercially shown.
I think it's more important to actually do what you guys are doing nowadays, as far as like building an audience. You know what I mean? You really want to get out there, shake the hand, see the people that's enjoying the films. I think that's more
Yeah,
important than really
something
anything.
about a live audience.
Yeah,
Nothing beats a live audience, and I love people, and I love mixing and bumping shoulders and meeting people. So does Anastasia. So we're passionate about that.
it's there's the performing part and just getting out. I think that there's an appreciation that fans have when you take the time and effort to get out of your home to go see them somewhere. You know what I mean? I think that that's something that kind of hold on to. It's a little more special than just going to buy the Blu-ray or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's a big thing, especially now after us dealing with COVID and all that. A lot of people have kind of been almost cloistered, and more people are used to just staying at home and not going out. And I think that we need more, definitely live entertainment, live interaction, in combination of the film with the live theater aspect of it. I think is really cool, and something that I think that we need more of, because I think too
Yeah,
many people. Hmm?
our last film, Alien Clowns and Geeks, got
Yeah,
totally fucked by COVID. So
Yeah.
we didn't do the festivals. And then we got some son of a bitch distributor that not only went out of business, but went out of business slowly. So
Uh,
it's just getting discovered by people on Amazon and stuff right now. But check out Aliens, Clowns, and Geeks, film
hell
I'm
yeah.
very proud of, but a victim of COVID.
That's
So
a
we
yeah,
lot
didn't
of
get to festivals.
Yeah, that is a lot of fun. It's on Amazon Prime. If anybody wants to check it out right now, it's a lot of it's a fun film too. Um, yeah, it's kind of a crazy. You see that the distribution people, man. It's like, and there's so many more of them nowadays, and it's like, I wouldn't want to say that there's a lot more not respectable ones, but I feel like it's like back in the day there was certain ones you could go to, but you go to them, you still can get screwed, but like that you're gonna get the fair share. The film will get the fair share, a push at least. But nowadays, like, well, you find yourself in a bad distribution deal. We've been in them. We hear about horror stories all the time where you sign over, you get nothing. That's the end of the road. You know what I mean? And they shelf
Well, I
it.
got one to share with you, but I'll do it when we see each other over drinks. Like if you guys come out west, or if we go out to
Hell yeah.
Massachusetts.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah. I would love that. Yeah.
for
yeah.
drinks and cigars.
Yeah. Well, I know you brought up Shrunken Heads. How'd you come across Charlie Band? How'd you guys get into cahoots together?
Well, Matthew Bright, Squeeze and Henderson, was writing scripts,
Okay.
so he had one, and they wanted it to be their first theatrical feature. Uh, so they called me in to direct it.
Such a wild story. A lot of fun. The kids getting killed. You know what I mean? And then through voodoo, their Shrunken Heads are brought back to seek revenge. That's fantastic. I love it already.
Yeah, Matthew's a fun writer and
Yeah.
one of my great friends. He's living in Brazil and Chiapas, Mexico right now. He's kind of an unusual fellow.
Yeah. I know voodoo. There's a lot of voodoo, in the films. There, are you a fan? Are you a fan of the practice of the voodoo?
Well, here's an interesting thing. I play Afro-Cuban music,
Yeah.
and when you get into the music, you get into West African Yoruban culture. Uh, God, I was 15 and a half, and this Cuban woman, black Cuban woman, played me Celia Cruz, and it started in Spanish and went into Yoruban. So when you get into the music, you actually get into the folklore and the culture, where each rhythm comes from a deity in West Africa. And you know, so the music and the culture are very much intertwined.
Yeah. I do, you know, I always, when you guys had the supernatural, I love the supernatural because we kind of consider ourselves a little spiritual over here, you know what I mean? And that the element of the supernatural brought into things always excites me because you don't really know, but there is something there, you know what I mean? So it adds to the flavor.
Yeah, I mean, also the music is hypnotic, almost
Oh yeah.
trance-inducing. So
Yeah.
watch out. I will have an army of zombie. A zombie navy, a zombie army, a zombie marine corps.
I think we need more zombie movies based around like the voodoo rituals. Because I mean, whenever you see a zombie movie nowadays, it's some infection or something like that. But it'd be cool to go back to the old, voodoo roots
That's
with,
where it came from.
yeah,
So
with the zombie. Because I believe that there's some kind of drug that kind of puts you in a zombie hypnotic state that they use down there. At least that's what I've heard.
well, there's like criminals somewhere. I forget where there's like a powder that like they'll walk up to you, they'll blow it in your face, and then like you just lose your mind or whatever, and they like just like give me your money, and you're just like, oh yeah, okay, here's my money. I forget where that is, but that's very zombie like with kind of what you're talking about, Alex.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whew. We got the bath salts. That's the American zombies eating them bath salts up, and
They don't get my money that quick though. So I'm unboxing, walking down the pier with actually a buddy from Massachusetts who is kind of a big thug.
oh,
Uh, I just collected some rent and I've got like 2 grand or so in my pocket in hundreds. And so these three kind of streetwise kids are like kind of like hassling people, asking for spare change and intimidating them and getting their money.
yeah,
And I'm boxing and I'm cocky and I know this guy's got my back. So these three teens, hey man, have you got any spare change? And I said, I don't know. And I take out 2 grand in hundreds. No, I'm sorry, I don't have any change. And I put it back in.
I love that.
Oh man.
Life
Oh,
is theater.
Yeah.
Life is theater.
Yeah. I remember we had a friend of the show that told us this crazy story. He was dealing with like a Haitian nurse, and she thought that he wronged him, and it was him and some other lady working there, and he said that what was it? He went home and he had a dream that he swears that, take this for what it is. He swears to God this is reality. But so him and this girl have this issue with this Haitian lady. They go home that night. He goes to sleep. He has this dream where he's in a subway, very dark subway, and he's walking through, and all of a sudden three like big Haitian dudes approach. He says there's like a leader one, and there's two to the side that are kind of with him, and they approach him, and they walk up to him, and he's like, there's nothing said. It's all like it was, we were like just talking with our mind. And I'm like, all right. So he's like, so the guy goes, lifts up his shirt, and in his belt buckle, he sees two wallets, a man's wallet and a woman's wallet. And he says, and he just seen it. And the people are trying to intimidate him. And he says, I don't know where I got the confidence, but I got confidence, and I reached over, looked him in the eyes, grabbed my wallet, pulled it out of the belt, put it in my pocket, and I walked away. And then he swears to God that the next day he wakes up and he finds out that other lady that was accused of, doing the Haitian lady wrong, that lady's dead. Wakes up, like doesn't wake up, she's dead. And he's convinced that the lady sent somebody for them in their dreams. And he said because he was able to like overcome them mentally and take the wallet, he doesn't think that she overcame them and took the wallet, and he thinks that they took her like to the other side, to the forbidden zone. You know what I mean? And that story always gives me like tingles, because I'm like, wow, if he's telling the truth, what a story that is.
Well, in Bloody Bridget, where we
Yeah.
deal with Haitian voodoo, my Haitians were actually played by Haitians.
Hell yeah.
Jean-Charles Baron Samadai is Haitian, and Mambo Matilde, Denise Milford is Haitians. They were
Hell yeah.
great to work with, although I had one big problem with Jean-Charles.
Yeah.
He was too buff and good looking and
That's
had
my
to do a love scene with my wife.
yeah, that's a problem. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was my only problem with him.
Did they
No,
give
he
you
was
a
a total gentleman. He was a total gentleman. And we had all these what they call like sensitivity people like putting like kryptonite between them and all that, although it was the
okay.
fastest fucking shot I did in the film. That's done. Go for close-ups. No, John Charles was a total gentleman, total gentleman. And he's going to be featured in Bloody Bridget too,
Hell yeah, the
which
sequel's
we're
coming. Yeah.
writing right now. Yeah.
Did they share any like secrets from the homeland with you of like voodoo, any voodoo things, or any like stories from when they were kids that they heard about or witnessed?
But no, these were great actors to work with, and I'm going
Hell
to
yeah.
work with them again. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
John Charles and Denise Milford.
Fuck yeah.
Great actors, and great on set to work with.
I've heard great things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I also noticed that you have Forbidden Zone 2 also planned. You also
And
working
that's
on.
my fucking bucket list film. I've
Yeah.
come close. I've come so close. I It's the same principle as Forbidden Zone 1, which gave it its longevity, which I call memorable music versus serviceable music. Serviceable music is Chicago.
Yeah.
Loved the stage play, loved the film, but by the time I got out to my car, I couldn't recall the melodies, maybe some that jazz or whatever, because it's generic and it served the vehicle and it worked, it's entertaining, but it's not memorable.
Yeah.
Memorable music, which is like the things I had in Forbidden Zone, the things that Danny writes, you take forever. So Forbidden Zone is going to be half. I've got all these things like Duke Williams, I'm sorry, Duke Ellington, Hank Williams, Buck Owens, and Danny's written some stuff. But the rights to the old music, the price is going through the roof.
Yeah.
So I want to do it right, but I can't die till I do Forbidden Zone 2, which is my bucket list film. Although we're going to do Bloody Bridget 2 first.
I dig. I remember you guys been trying to do some crowdfunding for Forbidden Zone 2, and I caught it ended though, right? I caught it at the end.
Well, no, I raised the money.
Oh, you got
And then we signed with a distributor that strung us along for a year. And it's a tough deal. It's like Bloody Bridget. We just got a mortgage, up the credit cards, and just fucking did it like pirates. But Forbidden Zone 2, I've got to get this music. So it's kind of like getting knocked down in the ring and getting up again. And so help me God, I'm going to do it. I can't die until I do it.
For sure. Yeah, I know music can be awful. I heard John Landis in an interview recently saying like if they attempted to make Blues Brothers now, there's no way they could do it just because of what it would cost to get that music would be bigger than the entire budget of what they had to work with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's funny. On like Forbidden Zone 1, Cab Calloway was still alive. He gave us his music for $500.
Wow.
What a prince Cab Calloway was.
Shit.
I sent him some of Danny's music and he said, I'm down. Here, I've got to give you something just to tell the agent.
Yeah. Of course, it's a great perk having Danny as your brother, but you signed to a label. So, like, is that kind of tricky when you're trying to get music for your film, or is he kind of can do that separate?
Bloody Bridget, along with co-scoring it with our bandmate Ego Plum, we've got 2 Oingo Boingo tunes, Dead Man's Party and Ain't It the Life. And then we've got Cruel Compensation from his new album. But the people that he's working with have been super cool. Good. And they're basically giving it to me.
Awesome. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah. I'm working with Nanny's working with good people right now.
That's what I like to hear. Because, like, it's all art. It's all, creative expression. It's like you get 2 people that want to work together. It's like it's so crazy when business doesn't allow that. Like when executives don't allow that to happen when the two artists are clicking, I always think that's nuts. You know what I mean? It really sucks. But I'm glad that that's working out for sure. Yeah, dude, I'd love to see Forbidden Zone too. So you said you got the funding for it. It's just a matter of kind of waiting for.
No. It's coming,
Yeah.
but it'll be Bloody Bridget 2 first,
Okay.
and then Forbidden Zone 2.
All right.
You know, so it's coming together. It's coming together.
Right.
I mean, I've got the script, I've got the art, I've got the budgets, I've got the tunes. It's going to be a similar concept, but on a grander scale. Just watch. Right now, I'm signed with a big company doing animation projects, and one of them will click, and that'll make Forbidden Zone 2 happen.
Hell yeah.
It's all in the works. All in the works.
Yeah, I seen some pictures. You had some like adult animated stuff coming, right?
Yeah. One of them's a great bloody horror. I'll send you some art.
Yeah, I see the pic and it looked great. I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
The well, the Shrunken Heads, real quick. Meg Foster was in there, right?
Yeah, she was our Big Mo, our
She,
gangster.
yeah, she was. How was she to work with?
Oh,
Cool.
she was great.
Yeah.
So her first day on the set, she's playing Big Mo. So I've got her in like this heavy thing to make her look big and heavy.
Yeah.
And she's like a method actress. And so she has to smoke a cigar.
Ooh.
And so while we're lighting, she's smoking cigar after cigar after cigar. And it's like 110 degrees in this warehouse. And then when we start to roll, she literally passes out. And so, we revive her, and Meg, total trooper. She did the scene. She did it great. She nailed it. But it was Big Mo, and she was a slender woman.
Yeah.
But big soul.
Yeah, too much smoke will get to anybody, man. I remember when I was never a cigarette smoker. I remember I had friends that were heavy cigarette smokers, and one day they were like, "You should just try it," and I was like aggravated with them pushing, so I was like, "Just give it to me," and I was like, fucking suck that thing down, and I was throwing up everywhere in like fucking 2 minutes. Forget about it, dude. It was like, ah.
Yeah, I've never smoked a cigarette. Back when the kids were starting,
Yeah.
I would have these little cigars I'd steal from my grandfather, like these 3 for nickels, whatever.
Yeah.
But because I didn't inhale the tobacco, I wasn't addicted.
Yeah.
And I still smoke cigars. But if I go 2 weeks without a cigar, I don't even think about it. Because for some reason, if you don't put it in your lungs, you don't get addicted. I just like to savor a good cigar.
The roughness of a cigar, I couldn't even imagine inhaling it. You know what I mean? Getting like an
Okay, the ones I get aren't rough.
Oh, they're not. Well,
Even the full-bodied ones, they're not rough. That's the art. That's the art.
yeah.
When we come out to Hollywood, I'll
Hell
give you
yeah.
a good cigar.
Oh, that'd be great.
He has the good cigars, Matt. Okay.
I'm all about it. Hell yeah.
I gotta say, the ideas that you get for your films and all that, the avant-garde, you know, locations and sets and all that. Do you like dream this up and like write sketches, or how do some of these just set pieces come to you?
God, I don't know. It's when I have a very detailed formula how I write scripts. I have a little garret on top of my roof deck. Ironically, it's another story. John Lennon actually wrote some music there. But I'll get a case of Johnny Walker Black, a brand I've been partial to since I was 15, and a box of cigars, and I'll have the script 3 weeks later with the whole idea of the art in my head. And then I've been very lucky to have good art directors and effects people, and pulled a great crew together. I don't know if that answers your question, but
yeah, I mean, the thing is,
got great people to work with.
Yeah, I mean, when I watch anything that you do, whether it's the music videos, whether it's Forbidden Zone, or Shrunken Heads, it just has a very unique feel. I mean, when you look at different directors, you can tell, like, watching the film, there's a Martin Scorsese film, or you know, someone else. And whenever you see your films, they're very distinctive, and they really invoked, just inspiration, just just kind of like candy for the eyes, I guess is the best way to describe it, at least for me, looking at your films, because there's always something in the background, something that keeps your eyes interested, and just brings you in.
Well, that's very kind to say. Well, Oyo de Monterey, de Jose Jenner cigars, and Johnny Walker Black Scotch.
Oh yeah. They need a spot. You need a sponsorship. Get some kickback. Look it up.
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt.
Yeah.
Wouldn't hurt.
Now with Mr. Bright, Modern Vampires up in the building. Very fun film. You know what I mean? Rod Steiger, heavy duty. That's a heavy duty name. How is he to work with? He's very from the old school, and sometimes the old school actors can be a little difficult, but not with Rod.
Ha 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 ha. Difficult. So anyway, it's so Oliver Stone was the executive producer of Freeway, and then he was originally the executive producer of Modern Vampires. The other producers had a falling out over money. He left. The money went way down. I had very few days to shoot. So Rod Steiger, the first day on the set, okay, Mr. Steiger, we're going to start here, deliver these lines, then walk here, then finish it here. He goes, well, I haven't blocked it out yet. Well, Mr. Steiger, we pre-lit last night, and I've worked all the shots out, but I haven't blocked it out yet. But sir, we have to do it this way. We're very limited. And then he cuts me off, and he starts to scream in my face. Elia Kazan never treated actors this way. What the fuck do you know? What the motherfuck do you know? And this wasn't just someone yelling in my face, but this was a giant soul with a stentorian loud voice, nose to nose, yelling in my face, literally blowing my hair back. The crew is terrified. And I rolled. And instead of going from A to B to C, we wasted a fucking hour banana-ing around. And then so I call his agent that afternoon and decide I can't do this anymore. Okay, so the next time, like 3 days later, he has this blow up. And okay, so I've not just been in the ring on and off for 25 years. I've had live guns in my face. Okay, so thank you, Mr. Steiger. Can you take your marks, please? And then he'd give me Ron Steiger and then blow up and whatever. But he'd still give me Rod Steiger and call me 3 a.m. crying to know, was I believable? Yes, Mr. Steiger, you were believable. And so I just realized that every once or twice a week he was going to blow up. And I just, okay, listen to it. And then, okay, Mr. Steiger, take your marks. And he'd give me Rod Steiger. And by the way, he was a very generous actor. Like with our gangbangers, some of them were comics who hadn't been in films before. He would spend hours reading lines with them and doing all this stuff. But, he had his ghosts. But I was blessed to have Rod Steiger as Dr. Van Helsing.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it's like they care so much about the craft. You think it's that they care about the craft, or they care about their presence in the film, that they get so invested in it, and where he's like, don't tell me how to do it. But then later at night, he's like very apologetic almost, and like wanting to know how you felt at the end of the day.
And he would do these other tricks.
Yeah.
Like we were in the editing room the first week, and there'd be continuity problems. We were forced to use one particular take. And then I realized he was doing tricks, like moving his glasses here, moving them there, to force us into one take. And then week 2, I busted him. Okay, Ron, I know what you're doing. And then he confided, okay, Rick, I know I've got my best take, and it's just one take, and you've got to use it. So anyway, I love the guy, and I
Yeah,
was blessed to have Rod Steiger.
yeah, that's very cool. It's yeah, because you hear that with a lot of the like older generation actors that they'll get very passionate about like it's like they're like I don't know how are you like do you consider yourself like a collaborative director when dealing with actors, like they get the script and then you kind of you build with them or you let them build and
Yes,
kind of
yes,
critique.
and no.
Yeah.
I would describe directing as a combination of encouraging creativity and suppressing creativity to keep your vision.
Mm.
And I couldn't do this with film, but I could do this now digitally. Like my last 2 previous films were 35 millimeter. Aliens, Clowns, and Geeks and Bloody Bridget were done digitally. But because of the time saving, this is what I love to do with actors is I get my good take. I've got it. I've got it. And I tell the actor, okay, we've got our great take. We're done. But we're going to do one more, do anything the fuck you want. I don't
Yeah.
care. And half the time I get a better take.
True.
I can do that digitally. But,
Yeah.
of course, film is a collaborative medium.
For sure. When I direct, I always find that when you're not so do it my way, but more like if you have a good way of talking to them and letting them kind of put in the input where they feel it's more collaborative, even if you know exactly what you want, but like you got to kind of finesse it. I think you definitely, like you said, you get the best stuff when they really feel like they're making it their own. You know what I mean? What do you think, Alex?
Oh, of course. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Alex.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, out of the two of us, I do mainly the acting. I love it. It's my huge passion. And the thing is, as an actor, what I love, especially working with the director, is I got no problem with the director telling me that this is what I'm looking for, this is what I want. And I mean, I
A
like
little
to,
wider and hold the breath for 10 minutes. Okay, let's do it.
yes,
Sorry.
but the thing is, what
Sorry.
but yeah, the thing is that what I love to do is I give the way I see it, and the director gives me their input, and it's a combination of both. Sometimes they want me to bring it down, sometimes they want me to bring it up, sometimes they're happy with how I do it. But the fact is, I also know that the way I see it, how I'm playing a character might not be exactly what the camera's catching, and the director sees that. And I always appreciate being molded and pushed in the direction to get exactly what the director wants, because that's the combination, the give and the take between the actor and the director is where you get the best performance. At least I always believe.
Watch out. I may kill you in my next film.
Hell yeah.
Hey, that would be an honor. I've been killed many a times. I've had my intestines ripped out. I've had my heart ripped out. I've been cut in half by a snow shovel
That's
by
true.
this guy over here.
Okay,
I
you've got to send me some clips, man. You got to
Oh,
send me some
definitely.
clips. I'd love to see this. I'd
Hey,
love to
hey,
see this.
hey, hit me up anytime. It would be an honor to work with you
Hell yeah.
anytime. But yeah, like I said, I just love acting, and I love, and as I said, I've, damn, I think I've been killed in most of the films I've been in.
Yeah.
Very rarely do I walk away alive.
It's although I've been trained as an actor, I don't look for parts, but every other year, a horror director invites me to die in a film.
Yeah.
So I've got all these deaths.
It's fun.
Hey, there's no greater honor than to be killed on screen. I have this funny little belief that The more you die on screen is kind of like candy for death himself. He gets to enjoy to see you die so many times. So he lets you die for a while longer until he finally takes you away.
Okay,
That's
be careful because I think I'm going to kill you on screen, my friend.
I like
hey,
that.
I love that. And any way, any kind, I love it.
Prepares you for death. He gets you ready for death dying that much, Alex. That's how it goes.
Hey, it's I die for a living. What can I say?
Hey, good call. You know. Now, aliens, clowns, and geeks. We talked to French Stewart at a convention once, and he's a part of that film. He had a lot of good things to say about you. You get any good memories of working with French?
God, what a fucking pro.
Yeah,
And he was not just a prince on the set. French is a friend, such a fan of all of his work,
yeah,
including his live stage work, by the way.
yes,
An amazing live stage actor. So, but he was the king of, okay, French, take it away with his improvs and whatever, and his own dialogue that I kept. He'd come up with funnier stuff that I could write for him. French Stewart is a prince.
yeah. He's very quick too. Like when you talk about the improv, I imagine him to be pretty quick and on point, which is nice.
Yeah, he was our Doctor von Heichelberg.
Yes. You also got to work with the late Vern Troyer on that film as well. How was he to work with? He's always happy looking dude.
Okay, so I've worked with little people,
Yes.
but he was a little person's little people.
Really?
Like he was half the size of the other little people.
Hmm.
And very, he was very funny, could do great comic improvisations, and he played the emperor of a galactic galaxy trying to take over Earth. And God, was he great! And I was so sorry to see him go.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he was so fun on the set, a big spirit in a little body.
Yeah. It's I mean he made quite an impact, you know. He can't be upset when he kind of looked back on it because he did, you know, like all the mini me stuff was just legendary stuff. It'll be, you know,
He was our emperor. He was our intergalactic emperor.
yeah.
Alien Clowns and Geeks. Go watch it, folks. If you want to see
I-
Vern Troyer kick
yeah,
ass.
kicking some serious ass on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
And yeah, fuck yeah. We got to the like a physical copies of that, you thinking?
Yeah, you can get it. Go to MVD.
MVD,
Use
yeah.
MVD to get physical copies of Aliens, Clowns, and Geeks. If you get a hold of me, I'll autograph some. We'll figure that out.
That'd be
I'm
great.
just actually setting up a new website where we can do stuff like that.
Yeah, you got a good relationship with MVD. I know they did that re-release special edition of Forbidden Zone, which was very cool. They did the black and white and the color version of it, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, MVD are great to work with.
Yeah,
Great company.
Yeah, like Alex was saying with them set dressing, I do that. It is so Forbidden Zone. I can't get over how great that is. It's like a dream. It's like so like the backgrounds he's talking about with set dressing and stuff like that, and just like it's like you guys were just trying things and it worked beautifully. You know what I mean? Like I remember like there's a scene with like a skeleton like hovering over a table, and it's just like it's very avant-garde, and it's like it's not even the focus point, it's there, but it's just like has this very dreamlike cool vibe to it, you know.
That was cool. And I remember telling Danny, okay, I want something kind of Eric Satie, and Danny fucking delivered.
Yeah.
Da 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 dum. Anyway, that's it. We'll just wait till the Forbidden Zone 2. It's
Hell
gonna
yeah.
have all the zaniness and madness and creativity of Forbidden Zone 1 and even be wilder.
Yeah. I love
Man,
the wild.
cannot wait to see that.
It's great soundtrack too. Boom, I'll pull it out, why not? You can grab the soundtrack, vinyl making a comeback. It's fantastic. Everybody loves it. It's like a marble green. I got a marble green vinyl.
Oh, by the way, we're doing a new release of the Forbidden Zone soundtrack that'll include a lot of tunes that never made it into the film and other related stuff. It's the ultimate Forbidden Zone soundtrack. It'll be coming out this year.
Hell yeah. Very cool, man.
Yeah, we've been scouring the basements. Danny's been getting like tracks, old Mystic Knights of the Oingo Boingo tracks. But the Forbidden Zone ultimate soundtrack is coming out this year.
Dude, some of those old Oingo Boingo records, pricey. You know, the whole vinyl world, it's like vinyls come back in a big way and everybody's trying to get like the originals, you know what I mean? And it's a pricey deal for sure. You almost wish you kept like a fucking box of old vinyls around so you could sell them nowadays. You know what I mean? That'd be the thing to do.
Okay, boys, if we all had time machines, things would be a little different.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We all had time machines.
No time machines?
Oh man, I mean, we need time machines to go back and get. I mean, physical media is such. I mean, both as you can tell with Matt. I mean, we love physical media, and with everyone trying to go streaming and digital and all that. I mean, Matt and I go to flea markets. We go to old comic book stores. We try to get as much physical stuff for our collections because I mean that's where the art is. Not
Hey,
in.
bring us out to Massachusetts. You've got to show me around. I'll bring some cigars.
Yeah,
Oh,
it'd be great. We're gonna get you out this way. We're definitely gonna get you out this way.
It'd be great, man. It'd be great because I mean we got a lot of cool little stores here there where you go in and it's kind of like a yard sale but in a store, and you can find some of the most rare and things that you never even thought of. That I mean that's
I
what
love
I
Anastasia, and I love things like that.
Yeah, it's the way to do it. You're also an author, you know what I mean, which is very cool.
Yeah, well, I've been writing forever, and my first novel, the Schlemazel of Schlemiel, a vampire story, was just released. We're doing the audiobook right now. I'm going to do some voices. My brother Danny will do some voices. My son Bodie Elfman will do some voices. We've got Joe Dante and Brian Yuzna and Barbara Crampton doing voices.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a fun audiobook. But the paperback's on Amazon right now, Shamazel of Supreme, and then the audiobook will be out later this year.
Yeah. Speaking of Bodie was fantastic in the Aliens, Clowns, and Geeks. You know, he killed it in that role. It was great. You know what I mean?
Well, here's the thing: people don't realize, like his wife Jenna Elfman, Dharma from Dharma and Greg, Fear of the Walking Dead, is more famous. But if you look at IMDb, Bodie's got like 200 credits.
Yeah.
A major, deep actor.
Yeah.
I'm very blessed. I don't know how this all came together.
It really.
Did God give me a fucking family?
Yeah, it's really it is a blessing to be able to work with them and work with your family, get to do what you love with them. You know, you got to excel together. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing. It's like
Bodie's flying in next week to do the voice of Schlemazel for the audiobook.
I love it.
And Danny's doing a bunch of parts too. And I'm Joe Dante. I'll meet with him next week to do more parts, and then Barbara Crampton after that.
Hell yeah. Oh, I love that. That's a good, you got a great turnout for that. That's good stuff.
Brian Yuzna too is doing some voices.
Good old Brian Yuzna. I love Brian.
We eat together and get drunk every week. The best. He's just the best. Brian is the best.
Yeah, dude. He's good. He's got a great body of work behind him too. He's still making films. Yeah, I love the family element to it because like in this business, man, you meet so many. It's such a weird. The relationships can be so crazy because you got people that are they're striving for something you might not ever meet the real person, you know what I mean? But at least if you know you're dealing with family and people you know and love, you know that you can actually trust that person not to be your enemy next year, you know what I mean? Like it's a
Well,
beautiful
my,
thing.
my wife, Anastasia,
Yeah.
we've been co-producing live shows for 12 years now. And we have a daughter who just turned 16 who's passionate about animation. And out of the blue, I've been hired to produce animations, which
Hey,
I'm doing.
fate.
Life's fun.
Yeah, it's a fate. It's the doors open up, you know what I mean? When they're supposed to, you know, it's a good
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, fate both blesses us and fucks us, depending on which month or week it is.
Whatever mood it's in,
How it works out, huh?
Yeah, the real trick is when fate decides to screw with you, you sit back and you try to learn from it. Because if you just sit back and you get screwed and you just wallow in it, that doesn't help. You take the beating and you learn from it and you go forward.
Yeah.
Like Squeezer said about the Queen, she hurts me a lot, but I respect her.
Yeah. with,
Yeah.
with such a wild landscape and so much you could really do with the Forbidden Zone, like the content, does it have in your head, do you have more than just a sequel? You think it could get to a trilogy or even maybe more someday?
Well, this right now, it's just I cannot fucking die until I do Forbidden
Part
Zone
two.
2. This is my
Yeah.
bucket list. It's
Yeah.
all written, art's been done, the music's been written,
Yeah.
and it's going to happen later this year.
Awesome.
Other steps are happening between the animation shows and Bloody Bridget. I tell you, we've won 14 film festivals.
Yeah. That's great, dude. I love seeing that, you know, and it's, you know, there's so many, like I said, the film festivals, there's so many around that it's like they're like designed for that, you know what I mean? Like it's the fact that there's so many film festivals, it can be a blessing and a curse sometimes, but it's like it's a blessing for you guys because you're falling in with the, you know, people love your film. So like it's fate, dude. The doors open and you go, you know what I mean? And I think that like it ain't over. I think that you still got a pretty big future coming ahead. And Forbidden Zone 2, I'm looking forward to. Bloody Bridget 2, I'm looking forward to. Anastasia's killing it in the acting world. She's a part of like Once and Future Smash. We got some friends that are on that film.
No, she's been a screen queen in like a dozen films now, and she's
Yeah.
getting offers right and left. And but boy, am I, you don't know how fucking blessed I am with Anastasia.
Well,
Enough said.
where'd you guys
Enough.
how long ago did you guys come together? We meet and all that stuff.
Okay, we've been together 13 years.
Lucky number 30.
She was okay doing nights with Stella Adler, and her day job was in a effects shop doing horror effects, and I was working with the same shop, and that's how our paths crossed.
Oh yeah.
But Anastasia and I have an amazing artistic collaboration. We co-produce our live shows,
Yeah.
and boy, was she a trooper on Bloody Bridget. You have no idea. But that'll be a different podcast. You should probably get her for a podcast.
Yeah, we wanted to
Uh,
tap into it. We got connected. Yeah, it's like, yeah, she's fucking great, man. Very beautiful, very talented, very supportive. You know what I mean?
Not just that, she grew up on black and white Lon Chaney horror films, classical ballet, classical cello, and Marine camp every weekend. A very interesting background, Anastasia Elfman.
Yeah, Marine camp.
Every weekend growing up.
Does she
A
remember?
very unusual life. Very unusual life.
We're definitely gonna have to get her on the show and talk about that. How about, you know, the marine life is it's an interesting deal. Yeah, yeah, I love that. The best people are always the most rounded people that have all these very colorful, interesting backgrounds, and it's everybody's born kind of the same, and it's the environments like that that kind of make people different and give them their personalities and their talents and their whatever you will, and yeah, that's cool. That's a cool deal. I dig that a lot. So we got
Okay, guys, The
Yeah.
next time we talk is going to be in person over liquor and cigars. This has been so
Woo!
fucking fun. Okay, and
Hell yeah.
now I want to see some of the films that you guys are doing because you've piqued my elfo imaginations.
They're coming your way, baby. They're coming your way.
Yeah.
Well, this was
Okay,
fantastic.
yeah, get us out to Massachusetts. We'll rock things up and we'll have
Yeah,
some fun, guys.
we'll definitely do that, dude. That would be fantastic. I'm already looking forward to it, man. And Richard, this was fucking incredible, man. Thank you for coming on the show. And give Anastasia our love because appreciation without, this was, she helped out heavily to get this done. And, we love you guys. You're a great couple.
I
It's good
gotta
to
say,
know.
like, Anastasia pretty much runs things. I'm just a fucking lucky dog.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
But thanks again, man. Have a great night over there. We really appreciate your time. And yeah, I would love to get out there and see you or get you here, man. It'd be great times, dude. Great times.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Talk soon, gents.
Talk soon, man.
Talk
Have a
soon.
good one. Thank you.
Take care.
Take care. And ladies and gentlemen, that was the great Richard Elfman. Very fantastic. The films, I can't even, every now and then we have guests on that they might not have made the movies that are huge. They might not have made Jurassic Park, or they might not have made The Rock. But the Forbidden Zone is such a fucking unique, artistic, avant-garde, just journey into madness that everybody needs to see it. And it's beautifully done. It's shot well. The theme, I love the themes because when I brought up like the John Waters thing, which I think I did, I could have lost my mind. But
Yeah,
like
you did.
the humor of it is a lot in the realm of, it's almost like the vision of a Fellini film with like the humor of a John Waters film. And like it has like vibes of like Hodorowski in there too, but like I said, I think that John Waters and Hodorowski are kind of contemporaries to them. You know what I mean? They were doing some late 70s, early 80s films. You know what I mean? But you watch it, you definitely get the Fellini vibe. And I was always a big fan of the film. And when before I really knew a lot about Richard, like I'd watch it and I would go, wow, this movie has such like a weird, cool style to it. Like I don't quite like, where are the influences for this? It's not so cool. But when we started doing more research for the show, I kind of answered my own question a little bit because that theater background, if you know that he has that theater background, then you can really kind of watch the film and go, okay, like I'm catching a heavy theater influence vibe here. And when I first watched the film, like I had no idea that he was. Usually, you hear a lot of like actors have the theater background and stuff like that. Not so. Sometimes the filmmakers will have, they'll lighting and some stage directing and stuff like that. But there's not really a lot of theater in there. But I think that, like we say with the things that build character and build people to be these cool places, it's because of the different things that they get into and influence them. And that's definitely it. And he's got a great body of work. I really love his body of work. That's no bullshit. But Forbidden Zone, dude, there's something about that film that's just everlasting. And, I've heard people call it like the underground movie, you know what I mean? Like like King of the Underground, you know what I mean? Like it's the sought after, you got to see this film, you know what I mean? And I was cool. It was very cool to see the MVD do a nice 2-disc re-release of it, which was very cool with the black and white and the color. And up until that point, man, I don't even know where I think I seen it on a VHS. But when that DVD came out, I think the DVD came out in like 2015, so somewhat recent. But you definitely got to see it. You definitely got to check it out. It's just, anybody that loves film should check it out because it's really a masterpiece. It really is. And it really is kind of the king of the underground films. There's vibes of like Trauma in there, but like more like a higher brow Trauma, you know what I mean? We often will talk about the Trauma films. Trauma has some films that are good. You have like, I love the Toxic of everything Lloyd directs. I pretty much like. You got like Mother's Day with Charlie Kaufman. You know what I mean? You got Cannibal the Musical we're talking about the other night. Trey Parker and Matt Stone. You know what I mean? And more currently, you have like Father's Day, you have Hectic Knife, our boy Greg's film. But a lot of the trauma movies that I didn't just mention there that fall into a different category of, some people might say something like Gabaggio or something like that. They're kind of, but this is very highbrow. It's not. It's got a vibe of trauma, but it's not trauma. You know what I mean at all. Um, Greg Deliso, our boy Greg Deliso, that Hectic Knife film. I remember when I seen that Hectic Knife movie. Like our boy Balsamo too. He kind of makes they're like trauma movies, but a little bit better type deal. You know what I mean? Like James has kind of created his own little niche, which we often talk about. And I think James worked with Richard, which is cool. We should have brought
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Richard was in one of his more recent films. I forget which one off the top of my
And
head.
I for some reason I thought James was in Aliens, Clowns, and Geeks for some reason. I could be wrong. Maybe I got that flipped. But like, should we talk about James? Like, you got James. When you think of like our generation of filmmakers, James is kind of like, you almost had a Roger Corman, then you had your Lloyd Kaufman, and then you have your James Balsamos. Who I hope you can appreciate that, because I think that's a high compliment. But yeah, like Forbidden Zone, and he's, like I said, he's got a great body of work. Richard's got a great body of work, but I always go back to the Forbidden Zone because it's just it's kind of a masterpiece of underground filmmaking. And his brother Danny Elfman's the man. If you've ever watched a movie that you enjoyed a lot, Danny Elfman probably did the music to it. The dude's worked. I was talking to the lady today, back to school with my boy Rodney Dangerfield, brother. Pee Wee's fucking Big Adventure, The Simpsons theme song, dude. You know what I mean? And Danny's a very cool dude, still killing it. Oingo Boingo, fucking forever and a day, love it. Danny just released a new solo album. The name's complicated. I'm not educated enough to say it, but great artwork. It's like him. It's like him molded in metal or something like that on the cover. Very cool. Very artistic, dude. Like I said, I'm always fascinated by families that spawn creative geniuses, and it's not just one; it's two, and it's two in two different realms. You have a film. Well, Danny works in film, obviously, but he's more of a music dude. But like the visual and the audio, like I'm always fascinated by families that can like do that, and like where it comes from. And the Elfmans are fucking incredible, and and it ain't stopping because the new Elfmans are incredible too. And it's a
Yeah.
really cool deal. I was super happy. I've been wanting to sit down with him for a couple years, mainly since there's a lot of people that, as soon as we decided we're going to do this show, there's a lot of people that went on a piece of paper that we knew we wanted to talk to, and Richard's been on the list for a while, and it was really cool to finally grab him in. And we're gonna have Anastasia on the show too, because she's killing it, and much kudos to her. She helped set this up, and she's an indie filmmaker. She's out there hustling it with him, and they're doing it. You know what I mean? They're having fun. They're entertaining and making people happy. What else could you ask for? You know what I mean?
Heck yeah.
Trauma Mamas podcast, shout out. BoomBastic Media Network, our fathers, the people that host our show. We're very happy to be on your network. I'm in a happy mood. Now we gotta get out to California world to have cigars and drink booze with the Elfmans.
Yeah, definitely. Or bring them over here. I mean,
California is so much better than Boston, at least for me, since I live in Boston. But no, definitely, I'd love to bring him in here, and get him. Realistically, we don't have to get him in a festival, because all you have to do is say that just that they're interested. Like any festival that I'm thinking of right now, if they were like, "Yo, we're interested in being there," they'd be there. They're loved by a lot of people. It's a good thing. And it was a very positive thing, and it was super cool to have him on the show. And what do you got to say? What you thinking?
well, I mean, I had a lot of fun talking to Richard. I mean, I've enjoyed the films of his that I've seen. I said in the podcast. I mean, looking at his films is like visual candy. because when you look at the set dressing and all that, it just just keeps your mind going, and you just wants to see more of it. You want to see what's going to be the next thing that pops up, and also he's a great guy. A lot of fun to talk to him, find out about all the stuff he's done, his plans for the future. Um, I mean, heck, I can't wait to see uh, uh, Forbidden Zone 2, Bloody Bridget 2. I mean, I'm honestly, I'm extremely excited to see those projects a lot more than any other bullshit coming out of Hollywood. Because when Richard Elfman is doing a project, it's going to be different. It's going to be interesting.
Yes.
It's not going to be some bullshit remake or something, that has been done 1,000 times. He's always doing something different. And that's what excites us. That's what interests us, is someone being creative and doing something different, playing with different ideas.
I truly do get excited about filmmakers like Richard Elfman because they're multi-talented. You might have someone who's on this level of filmmaker, but he's got so many different backgrounds to him that enhance his films. You know what I mean? And that's why he's definitely somebody y'all should go out there and support for sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Check out the films, go to the website, just shower the dude in love. If there's an opportunity, they hop on Forbidden. I remember I caught Forbidden Zone 2 at a time when I wasn't the richest man in the world, and I couldn't quite afford to get an AP credit, which was a bummer. But it's something that I didn't get it in time. It's definitely something that I would have got, and people should. In the days of like you can just go and invest some money into a film and you don't really even have to show up. I mean, like we see a bunch of them it's like these are the people that you need to be throwing your money into because you're getting attached to a legendary legacy. You know what I mean? Support Forbidden Zone 2 because Forbidden Zone is the king of fucking underground movies, and don't you want to be a part of that legacy? You know what I mean? So much love to the whole Elfman family. I'm looking forward to seeing Bloody Bridget, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the Forbidden Zone 2, brother. And yeah, everybody get out there and just support them. Support them like you would us. I mean, wait a second, no, support them more than you'd support us, and hit that Patreon. But yeah, dude, this was a great sit down. I really like him a lot. Very good dude, very good dude. Very happy to finally have been able to kind of sit down and chat with him. So like I said, definitely get out there and support. If you haven't seen these films, go buy Forbidden Zone. I know that there's physical copies, and you can get the Amazon copy of Aliens, Clowns, and Geeks. I know that he's got a good amount of shit on Amazon that you can pick up. Some stuff aren't so wild, some are a little more direct, but they're really fun. Shrunken Heads, dude. Shrunken Heads is one of the best films that Full Moon's ever put forward. And it's just so fun, and it's so wild, and it's zany because you have the plot always, whenever I think of the plot to that movie, it always makes me smile, which is a beautiful thing. It's three kids from New York that get killed unjustly, and a voodoo priestess raises them, brings their shrunken heads back to life to get revenge. Fucking incredible, dude. Are you kidding me? That's entertainment for days, man. So definitely go support Richard Elfman, the whole Elfman family. Go buy a Danny Elfman album. And hell yeah, dude. Much love to all of them. That's good stuff. I think that's kind of the wrap up on this episode. We hope everybody enjoyed it. Like I said, go support Richard Elfman and all the Elfmans. Support us on the Patreon if you're feeling it in your wallet. Go for the gusto, brother, and make you feel good in the morning when you do stuff like that. And we love all y'all for listening, no matter what, paying or just showing up and listening. It's all good in the hood. And we'll catch y'all on the next episode of what show, Alex?
The BoomBastic
Cast. Peace.
Peace.